audio description. Our motto is say what you see. It's a verbal representation of the visual presentation that's on stage. Prior to the show, about an hour before the house opens, we'll have something called the sensory seminar. And that's where the patrons, the visually impaired patrons, are allowed to come in. We have the whole theater to ourselves, and we will describe the set. We will describe some of the more interesting costumes, and actually in most cases we're allowed to have access to the costumes, certain props that maybe are unusual in their cut, their texture, their style, their shape, their form, their weight, their volume, that sort of thing, or their function, if it makes an odd noise. And the patrons can actually touch these objects, handle these objects, manipulate them, feel them, sometimes wear them. If it was like a hat or a wig, they might actually put it on their heads. And get a sense of those items that are particularly difficult to describe verbally, or just exceptionally interesting texture-wise, or in a way that would ordinarily be visual.
They also create the animals. So as part of kind of the animals, what they've done on the stage is you get to see the animal tails. You don't get to see all the animals. Okay. They're kind of hidden behind a screen, but they have the tails. And there's a whole bunch of these. So I'm going to give you one, and I'm going to give you one. And there's a million of these things, and they're all just multicolored and a bunch of fabric and a whole bunch of, or feathers. So there's probably, I don't know, 20 of these different things. They're long. And the kids in the show,
they're all made the same way though?
They're all sticks with stuff on the end.
Oh.
So that they can be kind of, his is different. So you got one with feathers.
This is kind of,
that's styrofoam. That's a styrofoam surrounded by fabric. Okay. And it's all, it looks like they just went through the fabric drawer and just grabbed a bunch of remnants. Joel plays God, or in this case they call him the Father.
okay.
And he wears this robe, and it is very imposing. So that's kind of around his neck, that rope that you're feeling, and almost like a necklace. And it's actually, I'm going to guess, a curtain sash. Like, and then it's a very gold color, kind of the color of royalty. And then it's got that, it's all gold. It's very monotonic.
Like this is a different color in the fringe.
It's a little darker. So the fringe and the satin are the same color gold. And then that middle piece that's got kind of the design on it, flat floral pattern, is a little bit darker gold, but it's all gold. And then that back part that you're feeling, kind of the cape, if you will, is again almost a darker gold, dark brown color. So it's very royal or regal. And he's a big man, so this is, when he's wearing this, it's an imposing.
Wow. It's
so
right over here.
Yep, we got one more step.
What color is it?
It is a dark gray. I would call it the color of stone, and they modeled it so that it looks like a rock, but it's dark blacks, dark grays. It's not a bright colored piece at all. And it is probably, I'd say 12 feet wide. It's got two pieces on the back. There's an opening in the middle that's about 4 feet wide. So it's a platform. Yep. Two more, one, there you go.
How tall is that?
That is probably, I'll go with 14 feet. It's taller than I can jump and touch.
In the 20 minutes prior to the show, then they are wearing their receivers. I'm in my remote location somewhere else in the theater, and I'm broadcasting with a microphone and a transmitter to them through their wireless receiver earpieces so that only they can hear me. By then there are audience members in the theater. And so then I'll describe the principal characters, their height, weight, coloring, any unusual or any clothing that they wear, any unusual, say a different walk, or a physical stature of some kind that they assume that says something about their character.
Harold has a round face, slight build, and kind of narrow shoulders.
Walks very erect and upright, and again, he's playing the role of Noah.
And then when the show starts, all that is left then is basically to describe the action. Any action that is strictly visual and produces no sound. If somebody enters a room, walks over to a window, looks out the window, turns, frowns, walks to the telephone, picks it up, puts it back down. These things that are just strictly visual, I will verbalize those in as few words as possible, in between any lines and lyrics that come from the actors. So they're still getting the hearing, the oral portion of the show from the stage, the music, the lines, the singing, everything else, I'm just providing those visual aspects that are silent for the most part. If given a choice, I will choose whatever it is that either says something about the character or advances the story. If there's a big production number, a tap number, to hear me say they're turning, arms up in the air, is not as relevant as hearing those taps. That's what that tap number is for, is to hear the taps. Right. So I'll just be quiet and let them hear the taps, or the rhythmic soft shoe, or whatever it happens to be. And if there's a lot to say about a particular action that a person does, or there are multiple actions going on at once, several people doing things at once, I pick the one that advances the story or says something about that principal character. And some of the peripheral stuff has to fall by the wayside. But that's not unlike really a visual person who looks in one spot and maybe doesn't see what happens over there because they're looking there.
Father, arms up. Bright light. Father covers his eyes with his hands. Lights dim. Stars behind the Father.
So with audio description now, they're getting just the amount of information they need. And I have people now who used to avoid the theater who now have season tickets. They can't wait for the next show. It's become part of their lives. And they will use phrases like, oh yeah, we've seen that one. I saw that one before. And so that to me is a testimony to how normal this has become to them. That to go to a show and actually be able to experience all of it, experience all of the show, has become normal to them. I wish more people knew about it. I wish we had 50 people here every night for the show, or at any theater. I wish we had large crowds. So if you have a friend or a relative or know of someone that is visually impaired, even if it's just a slight impairment. Some people have limited vision. Maybe their peripheral vision is gone, or maybe their the images are a little bit blurry, but they can kind of make out shapes. I have some of those people too. Mm-hmm. Anybody, please send them our way. It's not difficult. It's not scary. It's not in any way intrusive. It's meant to enhance your life experiences. And in particular, those of us who love the theater want you to know what theater is like, because theater is the most awesome experience in the world, and we want everybody, as many people as possible, to know what it's like and get that full experience.
Quad City Music Guild provides audio description on the second Saturday of performances. For spring and winter performances, audio description is provided Saturday. For more information, visit www.qcmusicguild.com or call our box office at 309-762-6610.